Hey everybody, JP here, and today we are going to talk about vocals, in particular some Terry Date style vocals, with a little bit of Andy Wallace mixing, as always. Somebody commented on our Terry Date guitar video recently that they'd love to learn how he stacks his 1176s. Now, Terry primarily does this during tracking. He will run usually an SM58 or an SM7 through a Neve preamp or a Focusrite preamp into a pair of stacked 1176s. So it's a little tricky to get them right, and the input gain is going to be really the most variable part on your end if you try this on your own. And I'd recommend trying it in the box on a mix before tracking, because basically if you screw it up, you don't want to ruin a good performance. But let me play you what we've got going on here.
Crawl into myself, living is just not enough, just not enough.
So I'm using the least aggressive 1176 as the first one. And that's got, Terry talks about 10 and 2. So he's got the attack at 10 o'clock, which is a little slower, and the release at about 2 o'clock. And that's at 4-1. And the second 1176 is more aggressive, and we've got the attack and release reversed on that. So the attack is at 2 o'clock, a little faster, and the release is at 10 o'clock for a little slower. And I've got that at 8-1. So
Crawl into myself, living is just
doesn't sound bad with just one.
Just not enough. Into myself,
I'm looking,
into myself,
I'm hitting minus 10 dB at the loudest parts.
Living is just not enough, just not enough.
Hear how the second one really brings it forward. It brings out everything that the first one misses forward.
And into myself, I crawl into myself, I crawl into myself, living is just not enough.
See, the fast attack
just not enough.
sounds funny to me by itself on this one.
I crawl into myself,
but when you pair them up,
I crawl into myself, living is just not enough, just not enough.
To me, they one really picks up where the other leaves off, and they complement each other incredibly well. I used to do something like this for tracking vocals with a distressor and the Manley LOP limiter back in the day. The distressor would catch the faster things, and the LOP would kind of catch the slower things in a more natural way. They were a fantastic combination. I wish Manley would make an LOP plugin. I'm not aware of anything out there that does the same. There was a particular setting on the LOP where it almost acted like a de-esser on vocal sibilance, and it was really fantastic. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. This would be my approximation of Terry Date's 21176 technique, and you could play around with them. You could see which works better for you. I would say go with the slower attack as the first one and the lower ratio, and then follow it up with the faster attack and the higher ratio. And it's all about getting your gain staging right. Of course, that's going to vary with your singer, with your preamp, with all sorts of factors, but you can't really predict that. I am also following it up with a Pultec.
And into myself, I crawl into myself, I crawl into myself.
It's not doing a ton.
It's just not enough,
boosting a little top,
just not enough,
and taking away a little bottom.
Myself, I crawl into myself.
That was more to match it with the verse vocal, which I'm processing differently. I'm doing the Andrew Sheps Pultec LA2A Pultec technique on that, which I'll get into probably in a different video. But now I'd like to talk about a couple other things going on here. One is this RAT.
Just not enough. Into myself, I crawl into myself, I crawl into myself, living is just not enough, just not enough.
So the amount of distortion you choose to use there is going to vary. I mean, you could right away you could hear some Chino Deftones stuff happening there.
I crawl into myself, I crawl into myself.
On this vocalist, I wouldn't use quite that much, but I just wanted to show you how to obtain it. And I've got that feeding. Let's see what we have here.
Into myself, I crawl into myself.
See, just a little bit of the RAT.
Just not enough, just not enough.
Just a little bit of the RAT makes a big difference there.
And into myself, I myself. I crawl into myself.
See how it really fattens things up nicely. I love that. So now let's talk about some of the other effects we've got going on here.
Crawl into myself. I crawl
I've got a vocal
into
plate.
myself. Living is just not enough. Just not enough.
So good old Valhalla vintage Verb for a vocal plate, pretty short.
And into myself, I crawl into myself.
That's without it.
I crawl into myself. Living is just
Nice
not
little
enough.
ambience there.
Just not enough.
And I've got this 42
Into
float.
myself, I crawl into
PCM 42,
myself. I
224
crawl
millisecond
into
delay, a little bit of
myself.
feedback.
Living is just not
But the tricky thing with this is I've got this, instead of going to the bus, I've actually got this feeding the chamber reverb. So you don't actually hear the delays by themselves. You hear them through.
crawl into myself. I crawl into myself. Living is just not enough.
And here's our
Just
chamber,
not enough.
79 chamber.
Into myself. I crawl into myself.
You can hear the delays a little bit there.
Into myself. Living is just not enough. Just not enough.
I worked with a great engineer named Malcolm Pollock who showed me the floating technique where you basically use a PCM 42 as a pre-delay into a bigger reverb. And I gotta say, it's fantastic for some of these vocals. And again, cracking the vocals just a little off center, that's an Andy Wallace thing. And it just opens up the middle, really opens up the stereo spread nicely. Notice I've got the rat panned just opposite the chorus vocal.
All into myself. Living is just not enough. Just not enough.
I'm not even sure. Let's see if you even notice if they're both at 0. It's so
Into
subtle.
myself. I crawl into myself. I crawl into myself. Living is just not enough.
Maybe a little bit.
Just not enough.
I've got headphones on and I hear a little bit of a difference when I spread them out. Actually, I went as far as 3 on that one. I think I had them at 2 before, but you get the idea. There we go.
Living is just not enough. Just not enough.
So the rat pedal is a really cool trick. That's a Terry Date thing that I think you should all check out. And this is just, I think this comes with ProTools, the Black Op Distortion. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of options out there for that. Like I said, we'll get into the verse vocals for this project some other time. I'm still working on the overall mix for it here. But so yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. And I hope you enjoyed this. Take care.